Welcome to Fireside Giants. My name is Alex with my co-host here, Anthony Rivardo. Hope you guys are enjoying some Halloween festivities tonight. Let us know what you guys are being if you're going to an event or a party or anything. Let us know what you're going to be. I'm really interested to hear. Myself and my buddies were being the Peaky Blinders. If you've ever seen the TV show, awesome TV show. Highly recommend it. We're like 1920s, like flapper. It's great. We're like mobsters from like the English gang or Irish gang. It's hilarious. So it's going to be really fun. I know Anthony's doing some Spider-Man antics with his buddies too. So let us know what you guys are being in the comment section below. But we got some good news, some bad news, and what that good news, the impact it does have for this New York Giants football team against the Chiefs on Monday evening. Now, they've already ruled out Kenny Golladay, already ruled out Saquon Barkley. Kadarius Toney, however, is making the trip with the team. He's going to work out pregame, see what he can do, see if he's able to go. And if he is, what is his impact? What is he going to do for this offense, and how does it give the Giants a better opportunity at winning this game? So we're going to do a little short segment today, on that topic specifically and what he does bring to the team, especially with a poor offensive line. Before we do so, Anthony, how are you doing today, my friend?
I'm doing great, man. I'm having a good Halloween weekend, going as Spider-Man with my other Spider-Man buddies, creating the Spider-Verse. It's going to be a real fun time. Make sure you tweet me any of your costumes. I'd love to see them. Go ahead, tweet them at me. Give them a retweet and a like. But, of course, focusing on Monday, the day after Halloween, New York Giants traveling to Kansas City to play the Chiefs, right? 2-5 team versus a 3-4 team. The Giants at 2-5 actually might be able to pull out an upset victory. Is it even that much of an upset if they're only one game behind in the standings? Of course it is, because it's the Kansas City Chiefs. But with Kadarius Toney playing, I think the Giants have a much greater chance, and people are giving them right now. Kadarius Toney, I think, will step into this offense and completely change and revitalize it. We're going to get into that and discuss exactly how that might happen. But you guys know how I feel about Kadarius Toney. Love him. Got to get my Toney jersey. Toney has to wear the Toney jersey. Got to buy that as soon as possible. And honestly, I'm going ahead and starting Kadarius Toney in fantasy this week. Call me crazy. Or maybe I just have a really bad fantasy team and a major lack of depth. But Kadarius Toney is starting for my team on Monday night, and I'm excited for that. It was down to him or Sterling Shepard in that flex spot. I'm going Toney, baby. I think that he is going to be phenomenal. It's Toney time.
I mean, look, we've seen what Kadarius can do. We saw against the Dallas Cowboys. He wasn't even healthy in that game. He put up 180 plus all-purpose yards, just missed a score on 2 occasions. They can do so much with a player like that, from the wildcat to the bubble screens to the slants to the drags, to the seam routes up the field and those crossers, those deep crossers. Now, the reason that I love Kadarius Toney so much is not, aside from the obvious reasons, his quick twitch abilities, his ability to make people miss in the open field, is that he really covers up a lot of deficiencies on the offensive line. He is what you want if your offensive line is a piece of hot trash, and the Giants unfortunately have a terrible line. Without Andrew Thomas, I don't necessarily trust Matt Peart at left tackle. I think he's better suited for the right side at this point in his career. I don't trust that blind side specifically for Daniel Jones. As we've been seeing the past couple of weeks, especially Anthony, that, they should have been starting Matt Peart at right tackle for the past couple of weeks since the season started. The fact that Nate Solder's been there and has been sucking as much as he has doesn't necessarily, sit right with us. But I will say, Kadarius Toney is great if your offensive line is not playing well, if you don't have much time. Now, Kansas City's defensive front is not playing well either. Their defense is really, really bad this year. Their secondary is in shambles. They're not getting after the passer appropriately and having much success in their pass rush win rate. So the Giants have an opportunity here if Kadarius Toney's playing to say, if they are having success, and even if they're not, we can utilize him in the shorter portions of the field. Let him use those quick twitch abilities. But the way that I really see this happening is if Kadarius Toney's playing, they're going to probably try and give him a full workload. They're not going to limit him, because at the end of the day, they need him to win this game from the first snap to the last snap. And if he gets injured, so be it. If he re-aggravates the ankle, so be it. If he's able to play, they expect him to be able to go at 100%. And I think that, when we're looking at him in this contest specifically, they have a couple ways they can use him. If the offensive line is not playing well and the pass rush is getting to Daniel Jones, we're going to see a lot of drags. We're going to see a lot of screens. We're going to see a lot of slants. And there's no cornerback on that Kansas City team that can actually man mark him and keep up with it. I imagine they're going to be playing a lot of cover 2, a lot of zone, probably a lot of Tampa 2, using those linebackers to try and cover up those middle areas of the field. So I expect to see a lot of Kadarius Toney in the shorter portions. Probably even if the offensive line is playing well, he'll operate in that area too, but more so if they're not. But if they are holding it down, if they are playing well, I expect him to do some spray fades to the boundary like we saw against Dallas. He had a couple of big catches there, using him up the seams, attack the seams with that speed. I think they can use him in so many different ways, and really they're gonna really go with the flow of the game, see how the offensive line is playing, see how Daniel Jones is playing, and then use him appropriately. I'd love to see them get, if they're in the red zone, specifically inside the 10, I'd love to see them get him some action in the bubble screen game. That way they can, let him make his moves, let him do what he does and get into the end zone. They just are not good enough in the red zone. Jason Garrett's play calling has been abysmal in that area. He's had some good drives in the middle of the field, but once he gets to the red zone, it seems like he doesn't know what he's doing or what's going on. So I'd love to see them get Kadarius Toney operated and really utilize him in that space where he can make guys miss. He can really use that quick twitch ability to get to the end zone, get 6 points. The Giants are going to need to score 25 plus points to win this game. Kansas City's averaging, I think, 27 points per game, or 27 to 29 points on average per game. They're going to need to score a lot of points to win this one. And it's going to have to be coming from Kadarius Toney, especially with the yardage he did put up against Dallas. We know what he can do against bad defenses. He made Trayvon Diggs look like a ballerina out there, a figure skater, doing all these twists and turns. So I'll say, Anthony, when you're looking at KT, when you're looking at young Joka, what are you expecting from him in this game? And really, do you think he'll be on a snap count by any means?
No, I don't think Kadarius Toney would be on a snap count because he's Kadarius Toney. He's built different, and when he wants to play, he just goes out there and plays anyway. He played with a bum ankle and still had 196 all-purpose yards against the Dallas Cowboys. He doesn't care. He's going out there to ball. I mean, that's what he always says. Whenever he says, oh, I'm starting to feel healthy, am I going to hold back? No, absolutely not. I'm going out there and playing. He said that against when he was about to play the Rams. Of course, he did go out against the Rams and get injured, so for better or for worse, that's his mindset going into these games, and I expect him to keep the same mindset going into this one. But for this one in particular, this Chiefs game is interesting because this is the worst defense in the NFL. The Chiefs defense is horrible. It is so bad. They're not going to be able to contain Kadarius Toney, in my opinion. I think Kadarius Toney is going to be the guy that the Giants offense runs through on Monday, the same way that it ran through him on the game against the Dallas Cowboys, right? The whole offense was just running through Kadarius in that game. And I think that they're going to do the same thing. Saquon Barkley is still out. Kenny Golladay is still out. So it's basically Kadarius Toney, Daniel Jones, and maybe a hobbled Sterling Shepard versus the world, right? That's it. It's those guys versus everybody. You got those guys on a bad offensive line. So Kadarius Toney being that number one it factor, that number one star right there, that's who they should go with. Just feed him as much as possible. Use him in the vertical passing game, the underneath passing game. Of course, as Alex mentioned, those bubble screens, I love those. Put him in the backfield. Make him a running back for some plays. Throw him some screen passes out of the backfield. Throw some screen passes out wide. Even use him as a wildcat quarterback. I loved when the Giants did that. I thought it was awesome. Very creative and a great way to get the ball in Kadarius Toney's hands and just allow him to make plays, make special plays too as a wildcat quarterback. So on this game, I think that the Giants are going to try and get creative with him. They'll probably put him in the backfield, wildcat maybe once or twice. But for the most part, you just got to give him ways to get the ball in space and make people miss. Because even with a bad ankle, he's going to make people miss. He's so elusive. He's so twitchy. His jukes are crazy. Spin moves. You can't tackle him. His contact balance is elite. So get him the ball, get him in space, and just allow him to make plays after the catch. The Kansas City Chiefs are fourth worst in the NFL in yards after the catch, defending against that. So that's an obvious weakness for the Kansas City Chiefs defense. They're not stopping players after they catch the ball. So for the Giants, play to that strength, right? That's the Chiefs' weakness. You have that strength in Kadarius Toney. Feed him, let him make some yards after the catch, make some big plays, and hopefully score some big touchdowns for the Giants.
Yeah, you know what? I asked an interesting question on Twitter, and I want to ask you this too. Do you think the offense, like who would you rather have on offense right now, Kenny Golladay or Kadarius Toney? It was a really interesting question because, Kenny Galladay's at least was known prior to this offseason as a wide receiver one. He was a guy that could go in there. He could make an impact. He could be that focal point. And there's a lot of people saying that rather have Kadarius Toney already. And that really is a clear indication to me that Kadarius Toney is going to be a wide receiver one. He's going to have the type of production that you want from a wide receiver one. Having two of those guys on the same team, I think that it's not like I'd rather have either or. I think that they're going to be such great complements to each other because with Kadarius Toney dominating the shorter to intermediate parts of the field, when Kenny Golladay is healthy, that deeper portion is going to be open for the taking for him. And I think that's what I'm most excited about is to see how they can balance each other's skill set because Kadarius Toney and Kenny Golladay are literally the exact opposite of player. One of them is a speedy, agile, short intermediate route kind of route runner and receiver. The other one's a big possession body, deep threat. And I think that, when you balance those different qualities out, we're going to see two players that can really play off one another and drag different defenders. And when you see, maybe a defense is like, oh man, Kadarius Toney's killing right now. Let's allocate that second defender to him. Suddenly you have one less safety, you have one less defensive back covering or in the zone of Kenny Galladay, and then bam, you have an opportunity there, and then vice versa with KT. So, I really think that it's a matter of like, how can they work well together, not who either or. But if I had to pick one guy to have at any given moment, I think right now I'd rather have a healthy Kadarius Toney. I think that he masks a lot of deficiencies on the offensive line with his short route running, his short playmaking abilities. You're not going to see Kenny Galladay take a 5-yard slant, 18 yards on 3rd and 18. You know what I mean? But we did see Kadarius Toney do that. We did see it multiple times when he created extended drives for the Giants out of absolutely nothing when he should have been dead to rights. So, when I ask you this, Anthony, who do you think would you rather have an offense at this point?
At this point, I want Kadarius Toney. I think there's just more that he provides. There's more that he can do. I think the run after the catch ability is so big for the Giants because, yeah, maybe it's great to have that big body possession receiver, that deep threat in Kenny Galladay. But to be honest, the way that the Giants offense has been operating has not exactly played to that strength. They've had much more success playing to the strengths of Kadarius Toney, getting him the ball in space and letting him make plays after the catch, than they have playing to the strengths of Kenny Galladay, sending him on vertical routes or throwing some deep shots. Because the Giants offense still is not just emphasizing the deep shots. They really don't do that very much. So I just think that emphasizing playing to the strengths of Kadarius Toney is the way to go. I think that Kadarius is going to be that X factor for the Giants. And if you're asking, can he be a number one wide receiver one day? Absolutely, I think he can. His skill set reminds me so much of Odell Beckham Jr. I know Odell now with the Browns kind of washed up, not the same player that he used to be, but when he was with the Giants in 2014 through 17, the first 5 weeks of 17 before he got injured, he was still a wide receiver number one. Even when he bounced back in 2018, he still went for over 1,000 receiving yards. He was still a WR1. And I just think the skill set that Kadarius Toney has, sure, maybe he's not as fast as Odell, maybe his hands aren't as good as Odell's, but the skill set is very similar, and that explosive ability to just make those big chunk plays after the catch, it's there. It does remind me of Odell in that way. So for Kadarius, yeah, I think that he has a skill set to be a number one wide receiver, and we know that Kenny Galladay also has that skill set. So once Kenny Galladay is fully healthy and he's back out on the field, then we can start playing to his strengths some more, because what's going to happen is teams are going to be focusing in on Kadarius. They're going to be double teaming Kadarius, which leaves single coverage outside for Kenny Galladay. Throw that up, make those 50-50 receptions. He's going to do that, going to haul those in and make some big plays. The Giants offense is going to have to emphasize a vertical passing attack more. I mean, we've literally been saying that for probably 20 weeks now, but one day, hopefully, they actually do decide to emphasize that. Until then, let's just feed the rock to Kadarius Toney, let him make some plays after the catch, and be the elite run after the catch player that he is.
Yep, I agree. I think you just unleash the beast, man. And when those guys are healthy, I think the Giants are going to have a pretty competent offense. It's just a matter of like them actually being healthy, because for whatever reason, this season has been an absolute mess. I mean, even Logan Ryan came out there and said, I hope we can transition to grass at some point, because that turf is awful. I don't know what the Maras are going to do and with that MetLife turf, but something's got to change, man. Like, it's just too many injuries. A lot of teams like the 49ers, the Jets, like so many injuries on this turf, man. I wish they would just play on sod. Like, I've played soccer my whole life, and I've seen more injuries on the turf than any other type of surface before. And I think that sod is a really good alternative, because it puts leaves a lot of cushion for your joints and stuff, and it's just the natural grass aspect is just so much better for athletes and running and whatnot. So interesting there, but we'll see what the Giants do. I don't know if they're ever going to change MetLife. That place is a freaking toilet bowl to begin with. But we'll see. But guys, let's hope Kadarius Toney can play fully healthy on Monday evening. We're definitely going to need him against the Chiefs. We're going to need him absolutely 100%. Him and Sterling Shepard both. If you're curious about fantasy for whatever reason, I would definitely consider starting Sterling Shepard. And if Kadarius Toney is playing, I would probably start him as well. But Shepard is reportedly healthy. He's ready to go. He's not going to be held back by any means, and he's going to be the number one receiver if Kadarius Toney can't play. But if he can play, I think they're going to be really relying on those two guys a lot to get the ball moving. So expect a lot of action from both of them. But guys, enjoy your Halloween. We'll be here tomorrow doing a short video. We'll be wearing our costumes, so that'll be pretty fun. But enjoy, have fun with your festivities, your families, your kids, your friends, whatever it might be. Enjoy. Subscribe below on Apple, Spotify, and YouTube, and we'll catch you guys on the next Fireside Giants video.